And that's another one I teased Terry on. Two people. I thought it was a cutesy song again, you know, and I could see people.
And that's another story people didn't see coming. A life filled with unimaginable pain, relentless determination, and victories that defied the odds. You may have known the glitz, the glamour, and the legendary performances, but behind closed doors, the truth was darker, more complicated, and more human than anyone could imagine. A woman who inspired millions, yet suffered in silence for decades. Who survived abuse, betrayal, and tragedy, only to rise and redefine strength on her own terms. This is the untold story of her life, the highs, the lows, and everything in between. From the back-breaking fields of her childhood to the stages of the world's largest arenas, every step was a fight. And the revelations of her final years would shock everyone who thought they knew her story. On November 26, 1939, in a small, narrow shotgun house along State Route 19 in Nutbush, Tennessee, a baby girl named Anna Mae Bulick entered the world. The house was so tiny, every room lined up like dominoes, and running water and electricity wouldn't arrive for years. Her parents, Floyd and Zelma, worked as sharecroppers on Pedexter Farm, earning barely enough to survive. By age 4, Anna Mae was already helping in the cotton fields, her small hands hardened before they ever held a doll. By age 5, her life turned darker. One night, her mother left with nothing but a suitcase to escape her abusive husband, leaving Anna Mae and her sister Aileen behind. Their strict Baptist grandparents raised them with heavy discipline and endless church attendance. Even in the midst of hardship, something remarkable was growing inside her, a voice. At Flag Grove Elementary, she sang gospel in church. Her choir director called it ungodly strong for a child, and it became her lifeline. By 11, she moved to live with her grandmother in Brownsville. In high school, she became a star athlete and cheerleader, earning the nickname Firecracker because she never stood still. Her energy, determination, and survival instincts carried her forward. At 16, Anna Mae reunited with her mother in St. Louis, a reunion that felt distant and cold. She dropped out of Carver High School, worked as a nurse's aide making 75 cents an hour, and sneaked into nightclubs to watch legends like Little Richard, Chuck Berry, and B.B. King. It was there, one fateful night in 1957, that she saw Ike Turner's band perform, and her life would change forever. Anna Mae met saxophonist Raymond Hill, and soon became pregnant. Hill fled before the baby arrived, leaving Anna Mae to raise Craig Raymond Turner alone. But she didn't stop. By night, she performed in smoky clubs, and one night, she grabbed the mic and sang B.B. King's You Know I Love You. Ike Turner noticed her raw power and gave her a chance. She became the newest singer for the Kings of Rhythm, recording a song called Box Top while still pregnant. Ike moved her into his house and gave her a room, but then came control, manipulation, and abuse. He renamed her Tina, trademarked the name, and began shaping her into what he imagined a star should be. Tina hated it, but the name stuck. The beatings began, wooden shoe stretchers, coat hangers, punches, even being forced to witness horrors on her wedding night. Yet, her career didn't stop. In July 1960, A Fool in Love exploded on the charts, selling 200,000 copies within weeks. Tina's voice was unstoppable, but Ike controlled everything, her money, her music, her life. By the time they married in 1962, the marriage itself was illegal due to Ike's previous union, forcing Tina into lies under threat. The Ike and Tina Turner review became a global sensation. Crowds went wild, and Tina's energy on stage was unmatched. But off stage, the abuse escalated. Ike injected her with drugs to keep up with grueling 20-hour performance routines, and Tina survived on a fraction of the wealth she helped create. He forged her signature, stole hundreds of thousands of dollars, and forced her to endure unspeakable violence during performances. By 1973, Tina wrote Nutbush City Limits in just 20 minutes, a tribute to her roots. The song sold over 2 million copies, yet Ike continued to control her earnings. Despite Grammy wins for hits like Proud Mary, Tina remained trapped, financially exploited, and physically abused. The years of touring, performing, and enduring violence left her desperate. In July 1976, she attempted suicide, only to wake up with the clarity that escape, not death, was her only path to freedom. On July 2, 1976, Tina Turner left Ike behind, fleeing in a blood-stained white suit with just 36 cents and a gas card. She filed for divorce in 1978, giving up $40 million in assets and taking on IRS debt, keeping only her name. Her memoir, I, Tina, revealed the horrors she survived: cigarette burns, beatings, and coercion. The world finally learned her story, but financial freedom remained elusive. Tina lived in a manager's spare room, performed in Vegas for small audiences, and faced critics who called her washed up. By 1983, she was living on food stamps in a one-bedroom apartment, recording demos in a garage. Yet, she refused to give up, believing that something extraordinary awaited. Then came Private Dancer. With a $150,000 budget, 5 producers, and relentless determination, Tina recorded one of the greatest comebacks in music history. What's Love Got to Do With It became a global hit, catapulting her to the top of the Billboard Hot 100 at age 44. She poured herself into 12-hour recording sessions, risking her health and ignoring warnings of high blood pressure and stroke. Her subsequent tour with Lionel Richie drew 1.5 million fans, but backstage, she was collapsing from exhaustion and injuries accumulated over decades of performance. Tina's resilience, grit, and refusal to quit defined a new era for women in music and performance. In 1985, Tina Turner became a Hollywood icon with Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. She endured 12-hour makeup sessions in harsh conditions and fainted from dehydration, yet she demanded a role that portrayed strength and power rather than a mere sidekick. Her song We Don't Need Another Hero became a massive hit, solidifying her return to superstardom. She continued breaking records, performing for over 180,000 people in Rio de Janeiro, and earning tens of millions from her tours. Yet her past followed her. Refusing Ike's attempts to extort money, she obtained restraining orders while maintaining a commanding presence on stage and screen. Tina refused to be boxed in by age or industry expectations, even firing stylists and producers who pushed her toward conformity. Despite her unmatched success, Tina Turner's body was paying a heavy price. Years of performing high-energy shows left her with chronic arthritis, requiring cortisone shots, heating pads, and constant physical therapy. She suffered a stroke in 2004, leaving her partially paralyzed, and hid the truth from the public while continuing to perform. Her tours from 2008 to 2009 broke records, but backstage footage showed her pain, dependence on oxycodone, and reliance on assistance. Even at the height of fame, she never stopped fighting. In 2016, she faced intestinal cancer and needed a kidney transplant, which her husband, Erwin, selflessly provided after she initially refused 3 times. Tina Turner's final years were a testament to survival, love, and dignity. She endured strokes, cancer, and failed health while supporting others and maintaining her independence. In early 2016, she considered assisted suicide in Switzerland, but Erwin convinced her to seek rehabilitation. She relearned how to walk despite permanent damage. Her Instagram posts in 2023 warned fans about the dangers of untreated high blood pressure, a subtle reflection of the life she had led, courageous, honest, and protective of her legacy. On May 24, 2023, she passed away peacefully in her home in Switzerland, surrounded by love. At 83, she left behind a $250 million estate, her story immortalized, and the world forever changed by her resilience. Her sons, Craig and Ronnie, had tragically passed before her, victims of personal battles that mirrored the adversity she overcame. Yet Tina's legacy was one of triumph, empowerment, and relentless courage. Her memoir, charitable work, and music continue to inspire millions. And in her own words about Erwin, "He gave me more than his kidney. He gave me back myself." Tina Turner's story is one of survival, determination, and redemption. From the cotton fields of Tennessee to the world's grandest stages, she fought every battle with unrelenting fire. She endured abuse, loss, and illness, but never surrendered her voice, her spirit, or her soul. Her life reminds us that even in the darkest moments, the courage to rise can create legends that echo forever. Even after her passing, Tina Turner's influence on music remained undeniable. Artists across genres, from pop to rock to R&B, continued to cite her as an inspiration. Her powerhouse voice, explosive stage presence, and ability to channel pain into art became a blueprint for performers worldwide. Music critics praised how Tina had broken barriers for Black women in music, proving that age and gender were no limits to superstardom. Hits like Private Dancer and What's Love Got to Do With It were no longer just songs, they became cultural milestones. Tribute concerts sprang up globally, from London to New York, honoring her unparalleled career. Fans and artists alike recreated her signature dance moves, her raspy yet electrifying vocals, and the energy that could fill stadiums. Her recordings continued to sell millions, with streaming numbers skyrocketing as younger generations discovered her music for the first time. Tina Turner didn't just leave behind albums, she left behind a standard of excellence, a reminder that talent, hard work, and courage can outlast any obstacle. Beyond music, Tina Turner's life story became a lesson in resilience. Survivors of abuse, young performers, and anyone facing personal struggles looked to her life as proof that survival was possible. Documentaries, biographies, and podcasts analyzed not only her art but also her courage in escaping Ike Turner and reclaiming her life. Tina's refusal to quit, even when faced with financial ruin, health crises, or societal pressures, empowered women everywhere. Her image became synonymous with strength and independence. Schools, charities, and mentorship programs cited her story as a model for overcoming adversity. Her husband Erwin shared memories of Tina's wisdom, humor, and inner strength, reminding the world that behind the fame was a woman who had survived impossible odds, and had thrived. In 2024, the music industry came together to honor Tina Turner. The Grammy Awards featured a tribute segment, with artists performing medleys of her greatest hits. Beyoncé, Lady Gaga, and Ed Sheeran, among others, expressed how Tina shaped their understanding of music, performance, and stage presence. Documentaries aired worldwide, focusing not only on her achievements but also on her resilience through trauma and health struggles. Museums updated exhibits with her iconic costumes, stage props, and personal items, celebrating both the star and the woman who had endured so much behind the scenes. Her fans organized memorial concerts and online campaigns, ensuring her legacy remained alive. Even younger generations, who had never seen her perform live, connected with her music and story, showing that her influence transcended time, geography, and culture. Tina Turner's impact went beyond music, she reshaped culture itself. Movies, advertisements, and fashion drew inspiration from her iconic look, leopard prints, leather outfits, and dynamic hairstyles became synonymous with empowerment. Her story also reshaped conversations around domestic abuse, survivor advocacy, and women's independence. Organizations and awareness campaigns used her life story as a case study for overcoming trauma and reclaiming autonomy. Tina Turner showed the world that personal power and artistry could coexist. She became a global symbol for those seeking to rise above oppression, poverty, or societal limitations, and her story became a standard for triumph in adversity. Her life story continued to inspire filmmakers and writers. Stage musicals, biopics, and streaming documentaries explored every facet of her life, from Nutbush to global stardom. Angela Bassett's portrayal in What's Love Got to Do With It inspired a new generation of actresses to seek authenticity in challenging roles. Streaming platforms released remastered performances, allowing fans to relive her legendary concerts. Interviews, behind-the-scenes footage, and private recordings became a window into her relentless work ethic and her unwavering dedication to her craft. Even her personal struggles were analyzed as lessons in perseverance. Tina Turner became not just a singer, but a cultural icon whose life story was studied, celebrated, and revered in every form of media. Tina Turner's charitable efforts extended beyond her lifetime. Her royalties from books and music funded kidney disease research, music education programs, and health awareness campaigns. She had quietly given millions to help others avoid the hardships she endured. Foundations set up in her name aim to support survivors of domestic abuse, aspiring musicians from underprivileged backgrounds, and communities affected by health crises. Her legacy wasn't just music, it was the tangible impact she left on lives across the globe. Even after death, Tina's generosity continued to shape the world, proving that her strength and compassion were as enduring as her talent. Today, Tina Turner's story continues to inspire. Music festivals feature tributes, her albums are continuously streamed, and young artists study her techniques, energy, and performances. Her courage, artistry, and independence remain a beacon for anyone striving to overcome adversity. From the cotton fields of Nutbush to the stages of the world, Tina Turner's journey is more than a story, it's a testament to human resilience. A woman who survived unimaginable pain, reclaimed her life, and became a legend in her own time. Her voice still echoes, her performances still captivate, and her life continues to teach us that strength, courage, and determination can rewrite destiny. Tina Turner didn't just leave a legacy in music, she left a blueprint for living boldly, fearlessly, and unapologetically. And the world will never forget her. Even years after her passing, Tina Turner's fanbase continued to grow, spanning generations, continents, and cultures. Fan clubs emerged in Asia, South America, and Africa, celebrating not only her music but the story of resilience behind it. Social media campaigns kept her memory alive, with fans sharing covers of her songs, recreating her iconic performances, and posting messages inspired by her life story. Annual tribute concerts became a global tradition, with performers from different countries coming together to honor her. Schools introduced music programs teaching her songs and performance style, emphasizing her dedication, discipline, and energy. Tina Turner became more than a musician, she was a cultural phenomenon that united people through the power of music and storytelling. Tina Turner's fashion choices became legendary. Her leopard prints, leather outfits, and dynamic stage costumes inspired designers across the globe. Fashion houses cited her stage looks and runway collections, and magazines celebrated her bold, fearless style. Her influence extended beyond clothing. Hairstyles, makeup, and stage presence were studied and emulated by artists and fans alike. Tina's unique combination of glamour and power became synonymous with female empowerment and performance. She showed the world that style wasn't just aesthetic, it was a statement of identity, confidence, and defiance. Tina Turner never stopped mentoring emerging artists, even in her later years. From sharing vocal techniques to performance advice, she emphasized authenticity, discipline, and resilience. Many young singers credited her for shaping their stage presence, work ethic, and approach to storytelling in music. Her guidance extended beyond technique. Tina taught aspiring performers about self-worth, survival in the music industry, and maintaining control over one's career. Artists like Beyoncé, Alicia Keys, and even rock performers publicly acknowledged the lessons they learned from studying her life and performances. Tina Turner's life philosophy became a beacon for many. "Don't run from pain, transform it," she often said in interviews and memoirs. Her journey, from abuse, health crises, and personal losses, illustrated that resilience isn't about avoiding hardship, but confronting it head-on and emerging stronger. She taught the world about courage, perseverance, and reclaiming control over one's life. Her story continues to serve as a blueprint for overcoming adversity, proving that no matter the trauma, determination and self-belief can rewrite a person's destiny. Film, television, and stage productions continued to honor Tina Turner. Broadway musicals recreated her life story with dazzling choreography, while documentaries explored every facet of her life, from Nutbush to global superstardom. In the digital age, her concerts, interviews, and rare footage became viral content, inspiring millions of views and tributes on platforms like YouTube and TikTok. Tina Turner became an evergreen source of inspiration, her life story proving timeless and universal in its message of survival, independence, and artistic brilliance. Tina Turner's life remains a guide for survivors of abuse. Organizations and charities frequently reference her story in campaigns against domestic violence. Survivors see her as a living example of courage, how to escape, reclaim autonomy, and thrive despite trauma. Her advocacy extended indirectly through donations, foundation work, and public storytelling. Every time her story is told, it empowers people to believe in their own strength, courage, and ability to rise above life's darkest moments. Tina Turner's performances continue to influence global music trends. From stage choreography to live energy, modern performers study her concerts as masterclasses in endurance, showmanship, and connection with audiences. Her albums remain relevant, streaming worldwide, with younger listeners discovering her for the first time. Artists incorporate Tina-inspired riffs, vocal techniques, and energy into their own performances. Her contribution to music is permanent, proving that true talent transcends time, age, and generations. Governments, music institutions, and cultural organizations continue to honor Tina Turner. Streets, schools, and music halls are named after her. Awards celebrate not just her music but her life as a symbol of resilience. Memorial exhibitions display her iconic costumes, instruments, and personal memorabilia. Fan gatherings, concerts, and special events ensure that Tina Turner is remembered not only as a performer but as a trailblazer and symbol of empowerment. Tina Turner's story proves that the human spirit can overcome anything. From the backbreaking fields of Nutbush to the largest stages in the world, she faced abuse, loss, illness, and societal obstacles, and emerged not only surviving but thriving. Her life is a blueprint for courage, resilience, and self-empowerment. Every note she sang, every performance she gave, every obstacle she overcame became part of a legacy that will inspire generations to come. Tina Turner didn't just live, she conquered, leaving behind a world forever touched by her voice, her story, and her indomitable spirit. After her successful kidney transplant in 2017, Tina Turner's life entered a phase of fragile recovery. The surgery had saved her life, but it also marked the beginning of a new set of challenges. For the first time in decades, she had to slow down, learn to listen to her body, and navigate life without the adrenaline-fueled stage performances that had once defined her. Even with the transplant, she faced constant monitoring and 10 hospital visits over the next months. Immunosuppressants left her vulnerable to infections, and simple tasks became exhausting. But Tina's resilience shone through. Supported by Erwin, she transformed these struggles into a new perspective on life, one of gratitude, patience, and reflection. During this period, Tina focused on documenting her life. She wrote letters, organized her memoirs, and began interviews, not to promote herself, but to ensure her story, the triumph over abuse, illness, and adversity, was preserved for future generations. In 2018, Tina Turner made rare public appearances, mostly intimate events with close friends, music industry legends, and charitable organizations. Gone were the sold-out stadiums. Instead, she preferred gatherings that allowed meaningful conversation. She spoke candidly about aging, survival, and the importance of mental health, sharing her experiences to inspire others. Her health, however, remained precarious. She had undergone multiple strokes, battled hypertension, and lived with arthritis. Walking long distances required a cane, and she had to manage her oxygen levels carefully. Despite this, Tina maintained an unbroken spirit. She refused pity and continued to live life on her own terms, often insisting on doing even simple daily tasks herself, a testament to her enduring independence. While Tina fought her own battles, life tested her in other ways. Her firstborn, Craig Raymond Turner, died by suicide in 2018. He was only 59. The news devastated Tina, but she concealed her grief from the public, unwilling to let it overshadow her message of resilience. In 2022, Ronnie, her son with Ike, succumbed to stage 4 colon cancer at age 62. Both losses occurred while Tina was battling her own illnesses, adding layers of personal sorrow to an already challenging final years. She later reflected privately that these tragedies had tested her strength, but they also deepened her empathy and understanding of human fragility. Tina shared that even in grief, she found a way to honor life. She supported charities in their memory, donating funds and raising awareness for mental health and cancer research. Her capacity to turn personal loss into advocacy reflected the depth of her character, resilient, compassionate, and unwavering. Despite her declining health, Tina Turner never stopped giving. She donated millions from her book royalties to kidney research and health initiatives. She quietly funded programs for survivors of domestic abuse and supported music education for disadvantaged youth. In interviews, she emphasized that true legacy isn't fame or fortune, it's the lives you touch. Even from her lakeside home in Kusnacht, Switzerland, she communicated with charities, oversaw donations, and mentored artists and young women over email and phone calls. Her philanthropy was deeply personal. Tina had survived abuse, poverty, and health crises. She understood suffering. Every dollar, every letter, and every effort to support others was a reflection of the gratitude she felt for the life she had reclaimed. Tina Turner's final years were a blend of quiet reflection, careful management of her health, and moments of profound joy with Erwin. She spent time gardening, reading, and listening to music, embracing the small pleasures she had long neglected during decades of relentless touring. She experienced additional strokes, limiting her mobility, and relied on a wheelchair or cane for longer distances. Chemotherapy and dialysis sessions were taxing, but she maintained a fierce determination to enjoy life. Even simple walks by Lake Zurich were treated as victories. In interviews, she emphasized the importance of gratitude, meditation, and connection. She encouraged her fans to cherish health, nurture relationships, and never allow fear or past trauma to define their future. Even as she grew frail, her spirit remained indomitable. Tina's relationship with Erwin Bach, her husband, was a cornerstone of her final years. He had donated a kidney in 2017, and their bond deepened in the years that followed. Tina often credited Erwin for giving her more than life itself. He restored her independence, dignity, and hope. They shared quiet celebrations of milestones and anniversaries, often in private, away from public scrutiny. Tina reflected that love at her stage in life wasn't about glamour or performance, it was about trust, care, and unwavering support. Erwin's devotion allowed her to face terminal illness and personal losses with grace and peace. On May 24, 2023, Tina Turner passed away peacefully at her home in Kusnacht, Switzerland, at 83 years old. Erwin was holding her hand. Her body had endured decades of trauma, illness, and relentless performance, yet she remained dignified and surrounded by love. Her death was mourned globally. Fans, artists, and leaders celebrated her life, her music, and her resilience. Social media flooded with tributes. Concert halls dimmed their lights in remembrance, and radio stations played her greatest hits for days. Tina's estate, valued at $250 million, went entirely to Erwin, as she had planned. Her children were left out of the will, both had already passed. Her final Instagram post, just 68 days prior, warned fans about the dangers of hypertension and kidney failure, leaving a final message of care and foresight. Even after her passing, Tina Turner continues to inspire. Her music streams worldwide, documentaries reach millions, and new artists cite her as their primary influence. Her life story, escaping abuse, reclaiming her career, battling illness, and finding true love, serves as a guide for resilience. Her personal philosophy resonates: hardships can be transformed into strength, pain can be converted into art, and courage can redefine destiny. Tina Turner became more than a performer, she became a symbol of triumph over adversity, empowerment, and enduring human spirit. Her legacy lives not only in music, but in the hearts and minds of everyone she touched. From aspiring artists to survivors of trauma, Tina's story reminds the world that life is never too late to reclaim your voice, your power, and your dignity. Even after her passing, Tina Turner's influence transcended music. She became a symbol of spiritual resilience and personal empowerment, reminding the world that triumph is not just measured in fame or fortune, but in courage, integrity, and authenticity.